Hi guys, thanks for watching. This is going to be Amir's 11th week of life update. I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in and start talking because I'm probably going to have a lot to say. It was a super busy week for us. On Tuesday I started back to work, which was really hard for me. It was made a little bit easier, however, though, because Amir didn't have to start daycare on Tuesday. His dad is off on Tuesdays, his only day off, and he watches him on Tuesdays. So yeah, it was really hard just to leave in the first place. You know, I knew that he was going to be with his dad and, you know, it was alright, but it was really hard not to be with him all day because this is obviously the first time that we've spent more than 4 hours apart. And I actually brought my pump with, so it was my first full day pumping, and that was really difficult because it's not that I'm not producing enough milk, I don't believe, because my baby's hungry and he's growing, and I'll talk about that too. But I just can't express enough milk when I'm pumping, and I don't know if my pump isn't efficient enough or what. And I have previously stored a little bit of a stockpile in my fridge, not nearly enough for what I'm going to be needing, but yeah, I just was only, like, the first pump I think I only got in the morning. I got to work at 8:30 and I pumped around 10:30, 10:45, and I pumped about 2.5 or 3 ounces, which is not nearly enough. So I was kind of discouraged, and I was just like sitting there watching the droplets go in the thing and just like worrying about it, and yeah, that's all that I got. And then, you know, I decided at lunchtime that I was going to come home because my husband called me that Amir's bottles were leaking all over the place and he was really frustrated, and he just couldn't get the milk, and I was just worried about it, obviously, because the next day he was going to be starting daycare and using bottles. Now, he has used bottles once or twice before and he hasn't really had a big issue, but my husband seemed to have a big issue with them. He's like, you need to come home, feed him, and then we gotta buy new bottles. So that was frustrating. So thankfully I was able to go home during my lunch break and feed him. And I looked at the bottles, and let me tell you, my husband, he didn't realize how the bottles worked. The bottles, I should have brought them with to show you, but the bottles have like a filter type of thing. They're the Born-Free bottles. 3 of the bottles that we have are the Born-Free ones, and then we also have 2 of the drop-ins, just because that's all we had was the 2 of the 4-ounce ones. So, but he was using the Born-Free ones, and he didn't know that they have like the little filter in there. So, yeah, that's why the milk was spilling all over the place. Anyway, so I showed him that so that he could give him a bottle after I left, and that seemed to go a lot better. And I will show those eventually. I think I'm going to talk about like pumping and stuff like that in another video, and breastfeeding, all that, and I'll probably go over the bottles that we use during that point. But I want a little more experience and with the pumping process, and I'll make a probably very long video about that. Yeah, so next day was daycare day, the first day of daycare. So I was super nervous. I mean, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I've been talking about it for weeks, about going back to work and daycare and how I don't want to do it, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, life goes on. Yeah, I was super nervous. The night before, I prepped all of his bottles. I got everything, you know, everything in 4 ounce. The 4 ounces were full. I had all of his diaper bag contents ready to go, and I'm gonna probably make another diaper bag video as well separately, because otherwise this is gonna be super long if I show you everything. Yeah, I got all of the contents ready to go, changes of clothes, everything labeled, and you know, some diapers ready. And in the morning, I just basically, all I had to do was, I even laid out our outfits. All I had to do was get myself ready to go, feed him, change him, and we were out eat breakfast, and then we were out the door. So we got to daycare, and it's a really nice daycare. It's a really nice place. So I kind of knew I could feel some comfort in knowing that we were taking him to a place that we really trusted. It's a very reputable center. So we got there, and there was just one teacher there, but there's only two other babies, and they're all older than Amir, but they were just smiling, and they just seemed really happy. They had the music playing, and yeah, it was just the one lady there, and he was sleeping, so that was kind of like one of my biggest, not my biggest fears, that's not a biggest fear, but it was kind of a big concern for me that he was going to fall asleep in the car, which of course he did, and wake up and I wasn't going to be there, and he wasn't going to be in a familiar place, that it might be hard for him. And of course he fell asleep and he didn't wake up even when she took him out of the car seat. So yeah, it definitely made me nervous. I just got everything settled and I left without a tear, and you know, I was definitely sad and worried, but I left without a tear. But then I got in the car to tell my husband that I dropped him off and I was on my way to work, and I started bawling. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't leave him there. And it's really not because the daycare is not a nice place. I like that he gets to socialize, and I know he's only 2 months old, but he gets to sort of get socialized with, you know, the kids, and it seems like a nice place for him to play, but it's just for the fact that I'm leaving him, and I could babble on about this forever, but I'm sure you understand if you are a working mother or you have to drop your baby off at daycare, how hard it is, especially the first day. I won't go on and bore you guys about it, but I could seriously make like a 25-minute video just ranting about how I feel about having to leave my son. But yeah, so I started bawling, and he's like, it's okay, you know, maybe we can figure out a solution in the future, just, you know, it's just the first day, it's going to be hard, and, you know, we'll try to figure out what's going to happen with daycare later. This is just kind of like a temporary solution, because the whole idea of me going back to work is to eventually go down to part-time so that I can be home with him more, and also I will eventually be going to school, not quite full-time, but more than I am going right now. So yeah, anyway, I'm getting kind of off track here. So they said at daycare too, let me go back a little bit, that I could call anytime I wanted, and, you know, they'll give us reports any day, anytime I want, you know, they'll talk about how his progress is going. So at work, I called around 1 o'clock, except I called the number she gave me and nobody answered, and then it was a voicemail for somebody else within like the school district, because the daycare is actually at a school. And I couldn't, because it's summer, I couldn't get like a receptionist or like an operator to find out the number. So I was really worried. But then I remembered that I had the director of the daycare's program number, so I called there and they transferred me, and it just turns out that it is the right number, but it was a different voicemail. I don't know, they can't change it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of off track here. But I called and I talked to his teacher, Miss Lisa, and she said that he at 12:30 had drinking all of his 3 bottles. He has 5 bottles, so he has 2 bottles left, and she said that she doesn't know if he's going to be enough to last him until I pick him up, because I pick him up, I get there around 5:45-ish, and she's like, I don't know what you'd like me to do, but he's very hungry. She said he drank 8 ounces in 1 hour. That's crazy. For a 2-month, or almost 11, no, was he 11 weeks? Almost 11 weeks old, that's just insane. Yeah, so she said, do you want me to give him a formula bottle if you run out of milk and he's really hungry? And I said, yes, I'm not against formula, but I want to give him my milk whenever possible. And I'm certainly not going to leave my baby just starving and screaming hungry just because I want him to have breast milk. I mean, 5 out of his 6 bottles were breast milk. So when I picked him up, they were just giving him the formula bottle, and he probably had an ounce of that, which was a 4-ounce bottle. And she's like, do you want me to keep feeding him? I'm like, no, you can stop, you know, because I'm here now and I can feed him. So he didn't really have very much of that formula, which is not, again, not the end of the world if he has a little formula. It's not, but it's still like, I don't know, it makes me feel kind of like inadequate that I can't express enough milk, because I did pump again, I guess, at the end of the day. I should go back. You know, I did pump again at the end of the day. Oh, wait. the next day, and obviously the end of the first day that I was there, and I started to get a little bit more milk, but still not enough to keep up with him. Now I'm getting about 4 ounces every time I pump, so I pump 3 times a day, and that, unfortunately, it's like 12 ounces is not enough to feed him. Obviously he's eating 8 ounces in 1 hour. I don't know, I'm definitely really worried about what I'm going to do, and I really want him to have breast milk. I really do, and like I said, 1 bottle of formula it's okay, but I don't want him to have the majority of formula. I want him to have the majority of breast milk. So I don't know what I need to figure out what I'm going to do about getting expressing milk. I think I have enough milk because he's getting enough milk when I'm breastfeeding him. It's not that he's going hungry ever, that I can tell, and he's definitely very healthy weight, and you'll see him, you know, and you've seen his progress if you've been watching my videos. He eats a lot, and he gains a lot of weight, or you haven't seen him eat, but you've seen him gaining weight. So I don't know. I called the doctor, and she gave me, again, the lactation specialist referral, and I'm going to be taking advantage of that. I'm going to be calling on Monday to see if there's maybe a different pump that I can be using, like a hospital grade pump, because I really think I do have enough milk, just not expressing it. So she'll help me with that, hopefully. Anyway, back to daycare. So they gave me this little report. I'm just going to fold it over because it does say his last name on here, so I'm going to just quickly fold this. So at the top, you know, they have you put your baby's name, and you can't see that part, but then you can see, you know, they ask how he slept, they asked, you know, what time he woke, what time he was last changed, and then they just asked me when he was fed and how often he wants to be fed. And I said about 2.5 hours. So this shows all of his feedings. So you can see here, it says that he's a great drinker. It's probably hard to read their handwriting. And then here it has all the times that he was changed and what type of diaper it was, wet or bowel movements, and then his naps, and then comments at the bottom. And it says, this is supposed to be Amir saying this. So, I enjoyed playing with my friends, and I watched them and smiled. And she said that he absolutely had a blast watching the other kids. Like, he just was getting so excited and trying to talk to them and cooing at them. That's what she told me. It doesn't say that on there. And then the teacher wants me to know that Amir is doing great. He played with all his friends, and it says all their names. And please bring more bottles. Oh, so I asked her about that, and she said, yeah, if you could just try to maybe bring 1 more bottle. I'm like, well, I'll try to bring 1 more bottle, but I just don't know that I'm even going to get enough for what I'm getting right now of breast milk. So I told them that if I do not bring another bottle, that they can go ahead and give him another bottle of formula if he really needs it, but please give all of the breast milk first before you give any formula, please. So they agreed upon that. And then when I picked him up, he spit up a little bit, threw up a little bit, and he does not spit up really unless he's really full. So I kind of wondered, are they overfeeding him? And I asked some friends about it, and I kind of looked it up, and they say that, you know, babies, if they're not hungry, they'll turn their head away. They will not keep drinking. But I swear, every time I offer the boob to him, anytime I offer anything to him, he takes it. So I don't think that he's wanting for nutrition, for food, because he's just such a big boy, but I just don't know. This is kind of like throwing me for a loop. In the beginning, I had oversupply, and like, if I probably expressed, I wish I would have pumped then more in the beginning, even though they say don't do it because your milk is supposed to be regulating. I really think it's probably a good idea, and I probably will next time start pumping right from the beginning so that I can have a way bigger stockpile. But I'm really determined to keep breastfeeding. I'm determined to keep pumping and getting as much milk as possible. I'm not going to give up. I really want this to happen. And if he has to have more formula, he does. But he's going to have at least whatever I can express for him or whatever I can feed him at home. I just want him, I really think it's important for me. It's a goal. It's a goal for me to try to breastfeed up to a year. So, yeah, they gave him they give you all these little sheets every day, and I really like that. That's part of the things about centers that I really wanted. That's why part of why I really wanted to go to centers. I feel like they're monitored and regulated more closely. They give you these reports. They're very strict about like how they do things. Like they sleep in sleep sacks. They are very particular, and I really like that. And they seem like really great people. They also said on the first day that they took them out in the wagon. They have like this multi-seat wagon, and then they have like a space for car seats, and that he didn't like it. And I said, oh yeah, I know, because he hates the car seat now. He does not like it unless he's sleeping. He's going to be crying in it until you take him out. Or maybe if you're moving, maybe he'll not cry in it. But for the most part, he wants to be out and looking around. He does not want to be stuck in that little seat. I kind of say I can't blame him. Yeah, so that kind of was his first week. And the end, yesterday, Friday, when I picked him up, they told me that he's actually only there half day on Fridays and Mondays because my husband goes into work later, so he brings him in later. They told me that day that he needs to go up a size in diapers. He's in size 1, or he was in size 1, and they said we should move him up to size 2 because he's having a lot of blowouts and they seem like really snug on him. So we're going up a size. My little chunker is going at a size 2 at 11 weeks. Oh, see it? I mean, he's definitely a healthy boy. He's getting it. It seems to be he's getting enough food. Another thing too that I've noticed now that after I pick him up and I start to feed him from my breast, he seems to have a little bit more trouble latching on. I mean, he's doing, kind of searching for like the nipple, but I don't know if he's still getting nipple confusion at 11 weeks. I don't know. Because he does latch on, but he has more trouble, kind of like he did a little bit in the beginning. He gets it eventually, but he does have more troubles latching. So I don't know. I don't know if that has to do with the bottles. I'm assuming that it does, but again, I'm going to talk to a lactation consultant all about this. I'm going to call and make an appointment, and I'll update you guys when I do get that appointment, kind of what's going on. And I assume that I need to get that done soon. That appointment soon, although I don't have any paid time off, so I don't know when I'm going to do all this. So it's been kind of a stressful first week, but I feel good about his daycare, and I'm not feeling so great about going back to work, and we'll see kind of what the future holds with me working. I might be changing some of my hours. I just feel, although I feel like he's in a great daycare, by the time I get home, we get home at 6:15, and all I want to do is just cuddle with him and spend quality time with him, and unfortunately, like, I can't hold him the whole time. I have to get dinner ready, I have to wash all his bottles for the next day, and those are just like the bare minimums, not including the other housework and my school work that needs to be done. So I definitely need to be thinking about, my priorities. And my priorities first, number 1, is Amir and taking care of him and getting quality time with his parents and making sure all of his needs are met. And, there's other things going on in my life, and I just need to really try to rearrange things so that we can get those things taken care of. So anyway, this has been a long video, and I could keep going and talking about all the little details, but I know that this would be a 45-minute video. But I am going to probably make some pumping video, breastfeeding video, and maybe I'll combine the two. And I do want to talk about what I bring to the daycare bag, and then my pump bag, and pump review, and all that. I think maybe they were having some issues with that. So watch for those videos if and when I get time, hopefully, because I really do like making them. But you know how my schedule is now that I'm back at work. So yeah, have a great week, and I will see you next week, if not sooner. Thank you. Bye-bye.